Hello, Eagle family, and welcome to another episode of the Eagle Exchange. I'm your host, Chancellor Carrie G. Dixon, and today we're talking about one of the most exciting times of the year here at North Carolina Central University, the ultimate homecoming experience. Joining me today are two proud Eagles who embody the Eagle Pride spirit in extraordinary ways. First, we have Angelique Stallings, a 1997 graduate of NCCU, who serves as Vice President of the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce, Chair of the Durham Sports Commission. She is a dedicated leader who has served the Durham community for more than 20 years. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Chancellor.
So tell me a little bit about your role in the Durham community, because over 20 years, you've been that builder to bridge with businesses and economic development. How did you start your career after graduating from NCCU, and how does it fulfill you or inspire you each day?
Well, honestly, Chancellor, this just kind of fell into my lap. I wanted to be Claire Huxtable, so I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yes.
When I left NCCU, but then I just started in the workforce and started community building. I did a lot of work initially, not even realizing that I was being this conduit, but it all just kind of worked together to bring me to where I am now in the Chamber of Commerce. So I've done community work and now working with the business community. It's all coming together. And it's allowing me to be in truth and service, as our motto goes.
Yes, and I've seen you in action, and you are one who shows up and shows out when it comes to advocating for the community here in the Bull City. So as chair of the Sports Commission, the Durham Sports Commission, how do you see sports playing into the community and economic development, and how does NCCU play into all of that?
Well, as a former women's basketball player here at North Carolina Central University for 4 years, I recognize the importance of sports and how it plays into the cultivation of a really great workforce. One of the things that I hear all the time is that athletes make the best teammates in the community, in the business community, because we're, very disciplined and coachable. All of those things, those plugs that athletes have. But sports in the youth will provide opportunities for them to be active and have other things to do, and really to help them to understand how to be a part of a team and to be a part of a community.
Right.
So sports on every level is important to the community. Not only does it bring economic value, as we can talk about for homecoming and the gain that comes and how it affects our economy, but it helps our young people to really, really understand that you don't always have to throw the ball or catch the ball.
Right.
There's a business aspect to sports as well, on the marketing or social media, or just being involved on the operations side. So sports just provides so many great opportunities.
And I'm glad you mentioned the importance of our student athletes in the community, because our coaches make a dedicated effort to make sure that our student athletes are out there at the elementary schools, the middle schools, giving back to the community. And it really, defines them as much greater than what they do on the court or on the football field or whatever. It really shows their compassion for helping others and serving as role models to let the younger youth understand that college is something that is reachable, that they are able to, reach and aspire to go to college. And if student athlete is something that they're chosen to do, that's great as well. It's like icing on top of the cake. And so when you think about economic development, this is NCCU's ultimate homecoming, and how does that play or speak to our business partners in the community, the city of Durham? How do you see our role at NCCU and how we contribute to the economic impact here in the city?
Yeah, so that is a beautiful question, and I'm so glad that we're talking about this, because a lot of times people don't recognize the impact that homecoming has throughout the city.
Yes.
from hotels to restaurants to just going to some of our local stores, our local businesses. The ultimate homecoming experience is really the ultimate economic experience.
Yes.
Because we are impacting the Durham economy, but not just Durham. I mean, people stay outside in the Triangle as well. They stay in other places, but also visit other cities that are close to us nearby, but they use the airport and they come in, and so their tax dollars help to engage our community. And it's just so important that our alums come back and really engage in the community, and that also helps when you walk around campus and see all the beautiful changes that have happened since I've been out of schools for a long time. I'm not going to say how long, but it has changed so much. But that is because our alumni come back and they impact the community, and so then that's able to benefit the university.
Yes, and it's called the ultimate homecoming experience because we have so many people coming back and, you know, feeling welcomed in the city, and just knowing that we're driving as an economic engine in this area is really great to hear. And one thing that I want to see happen at NCCU is it's been a while since we've had an economic impact study done, and it helps us tell the story of being great ambassadors of who we are at NCCU and how we contribute to the success of the city and the state of North Carolina and beyond. So really happy to partner with you, and being at the table at the Chamber of Commerce meetings and seeing you there leading and advocating for women as well. And when you think about your journey in leadership, what are some of the experiences you had as a woman in leadership, and you know, any of the barriers that you want to share, or any of the triumphs that you experienced as a woman in leadership here in the city?
Well, the good thing about Durham is we have a beautiful, rich Black history. So being a Black woman, graduating from an HBCU, it was an easy transition for me into this community because it is very welcoming of women leaders, Black women leaders. But I recognize that's not in all places. And so having a young woman who is my daughter, she's an adult now, but raising her here in Durham and having her on campus here with me, and, you know, she went to Durham Public Schools, and she was able to experience the beauty of Black excellence and see it everywhere in every aspect of growing up, from, you know, superintendents to chancellors to coaches to everything, our elected leaders. It's a beautiful opportunity for people to come here and really grow and thrive. All the economic development comes through my office at the Chamber of Commerce. My colleague that's over the Economic Development Office. We are very proud to use HBCUs in our data here at North Carolina Central to bring jobs here to the area, understanding the importance of the demographic here, and that North Carolina Central is really an economic driver.
Definitely.
Workforce, you know, et cetera. So we are always grateful to partner with you and to have that information to bring jobs and opportunities here, so that we can, our children that go through the school system here will have jobs and want to stay here and be able to, you know, afford housing, et cetera.
Yes, and you know, as I think about our students and preparing them to have great careers, you know, internships are very important. So this partnership piece that you speak of is critical to our success as we prepare our students to go off and do great things, and then also to partner and have opportunities of doors of, you know, opening for internships, co-ops, and other things right here in the city. And you bringing companies here to the city for, you know, to afford them those opportunities are really, really good as well. So thank you for that work. And as we talk about women in leadership, I will be remiss if I did not ask you about that illustrious sorority that you are a part of, that you and I share in common. You're an active member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I am proud to be your soror. But as you think about your membership, what through that process do you think you gained from you know, experiencing that journey of being a Delta woman? that really influence your leadership style?
I think it's about the service.
Yes.
We as sororities, all D9, we are all based in service, scholarships, etc. And our daughters are both legacy. They're both
Yes.
KO
Yes.
from UNC, and you want to pass those traditions down. And I think being a part of an organization like that really values service and giving back to the community, it really helps to embody who I grew to be here on campus at North Carolina Central. And it helps me to understand the value of being a part of the community and having a voice at the table, and that my voice matters, and that we want to bring others along. We want to bring that chair, as our soror Shirley Chisholm says, we want
Yes.
to bring that chair to the table to bring others along with us. So I think that's where Delta kind of fits in for me.
Definitely. And so as an HBCU graduate, NCCU graduate more specifically, how does being a graduate of an HBCU play into the role of leadership right here in Durham?
There's nothing like it. There is nothing like being a graduate of an HBCU.
Yes.
We all have our competitiveness as HBCUs, but we all have that HBCU love, and we have that pride
Yes.
of being on a campus where you're the majority and you matter and you are seen and valued. I think, that plays into how I show up in the room.
That's
I make
right.
sure that I bring North Carolina Central with me, and all HBCUs, but specifically North Carolina Central, and people understanding that, being a member of the alumni chapter
Yes.
of just being an HBCU, right? But North Carolina Central, and how that impacts not just the city, but the region, the state, and the world. We have alumni across the world, as
Yes.
I'm sure you'll be talking about later, that have really impacted how this world has been changed and shaped and framed, and they all came right here from Fayetteville Street at North Carolina
Yes.
Central University. And I say that all the time. Everybody knows. People thought that I worked here for so long because I am a huge advocate and ambassador, but it brings a certain pride that
Yes.
is almost indescribable.
Yes, and it gives us pride to see you leading in the role that you're in, and even advocating on boards and other things that you do. Your everyday life is, we know Angelique, and she is a graduate of NCCU, and that really feels good. It really feels great, and it felt great for me just coming into this role. You were one of the first people that I met in the community, and also serving, also being an alum and serving in such a great leadership position in the city was very warming to be able to talk to you about partnerships and talk to you about how we move forward. So I really do appreciate that. So looking back on your career, what legacy do you hope to leave in Durham and beyond?
Again, service.
Service.
It was just how I was raised, and then coming here and really understanding that truth and service, that it really is the rent that we pay to be on this earth. And I truly believe that anyone who knows me knows that I am serving somewhere. I do a lot of it for free. Because it's
That's
important.
right.
It is important to do that, but I think just the legacy of serving and wanting to uplift our community. I'm very intentional about Black women, about Black people, about Black schools, and I'm unapologetic about that. So I think that would be the legacy that I would want to leave, is service.
That's great. So one other question. When you think about self-care, and I have to be the first to admit, I do not do a really good job at this at all,
Yes.
balancing life and career. What does that look like for you? What are some of the things that you do in order to ensure that you are taking care of yourself, your well-being? As we think about post-COVID, the landscape of higher education has changed. Our student population and how we meet them where they are has changed. But as a leader and as a woman, how does that feel for you as being, are you intentional about making sure that your self-care is a priority?
It is. I don't know that it has always been, but I will say,
give me some good tips.
As I've just moved into my 5th decade on this beautiful planet, I have been more intentional about that. I have just made sure that I have some more quiet time. I unplug from my phone, which I am usually.
Now, how do you do that? Please tell me.
It is very, very hard because everything is there, you know, but I'll put it on the other side of the room or whatever, but I will take time on the weekends usually to really just veg and watch a show. And I when I feel myself getting anxious, like, oh, I need to check my phone, I'll just take that breath because I promise it's going to be fine when I go back to check it.
That's right.
But I make sure that I check in with girlfriends, my line sisters, my sorority sisters, my daughter. I check in with her, my family. Those are some of the things that are important. Reading, trying to make sure that I stay physically active. Again, people say work-life balance, but it's a work-life integration. There's no real balance, you know, but how do you integrate those things into your life to make sure that you're okay so that you can pour back, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Well, I love that. And thank you so much, Angelique Stallings, for sharing your time and perspective with us today. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, I'll be joined by another incredible Eagle voice.
It all began with a dream that could never be built alone, one that required the strength of its community and the power of its unity, the power that builds bridges of opportunity from one generation to the next, the power that creates access to education and turns potential into purpose.
Because of the power of us, I can turn my dream of becoming a nurse into a reality.
Because of the power of us, I have a scholarship that allows me to focus on my education without worrying about how to pay for it.
Because of the power of us, NCCU continues to set the standard of excellence in higher education.
Join us in writing the next chapter, where every gift, no matter the size, changes a student's story. Not how much, but how many. That's the power of us.
At North Carolina Central University, we rise together, and we rise with purpose. Every eagle discovers not just how high they can soar, but how far they can lead.
When we give you these wings, we give you purpose, and we give you family.
Go Eagles!
We shape leaders, innovators, and change makers, equipping them with the vision and courage to impact the world.
I love the community and the family atmosphere you get at Central.
All while honoring the traditions and spirit that make us Eagles.
Eagle Pride Amplified.
Take flight with purpose and add to the rich legacy of North Carolina Central University.
Welcome back, Eagles. I'm excited to now be joined by Nikki Davis-Green, a 1998 graduate of NCCU, who serves as the president of the NCCU National Alumni Association and executive producer for Black Health Matters, the nation's largest forum for Black health and wellness. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So you have had a very impressive career, on top of the fact that you were president of the NAA. Yes. So how do you balance everything? And after graduating from NCCU, what determined your roadmap for this journey, this career that you're in now?
So I started out after NCCU. I was a graduate of the School of Business,
okay.
and I started out in corporate America at Procter & Gamble, having done several internships with them throughout my college career. And I had determined I was going to shoot up the corporate ladder, and I was going to be CEO of somebody's corporation, make a whole lot of money, jet set all over the country.
Yes.
About 5 years in, I said, this is absolutely not what I want to do. And I kind of combined my passion for making memorable experiences and event planning, and that's how I kind of transitioned. I was afforded the opportunity to do some of that work in my corporate career, and I just kind of transitioned into events, and that's kind of how I got to where I am today. And as far as, you know, how I balance, it actually comes easily for me. I love planning events and creating memorable experiences. So being a part of the Alumni Association and being able to do that with our Alumni Association, either on the chapter level and now the national level, has come pretty easy, actually. Yes. So it's a labor of love, and because I enjoy doing it and it's what fuels me, I think that's what gives me the balance. I joke and say that my day jobs are how I fund being able to, you know, hang out at NCCU and mentor the students and bring them snacks and that sort of thing. So I work so I can do this other work.
Right. Right. And, you know, just learning more about you, Nikki, you know, I was just delighted to be invited to the Charlotte chapter, alumni chapter event in Charlotte when you were president of the Charlotte Alumni Chapter, and now to be the national president of the Alumni Association is huge. But one thing I learned about you in Charlotte is that you are a second generation Eagle and a fourth generation HBCU graduate. So how does your family legacy, how did that all play into who you are today and what shaped you into the woman that you are and bringing on these leadership roles that you've been able to be so successful in?
Yeah, it's a huge role. I think that HBCUs, I've grown up on HBCU college campuses, literally. My grandparents in Charlotte attended Johnson C. Smith University, so I grew up going to every homecoming. We grew up as babies. They would grease our faces and give us, buy us new outfits, and we'd go to the CIAA tournament. And so I literally grew up on HBCU campuses. My mother's brothers and sisters are all in higher ed. Several of them have been college presidents and provosts and several different roles. And so being able to travel to those different college campuses, even outside of North Carolina, it's just what we've always done. And so having that HBCU legacy, you know, that's kind of what's fueled me to be such a strong advocate for not only NCCU, but for our students going to HBCUs, because I've seen what they produce. I've seen how they nurture. I've seen how they educate. And it's truly, you know, all I've ever known. And so it's played a large part in what I do today.
So you've received numerous awards and honors from the Alumni Association because of the various roles that you have served in and how you've given back your time, your service to the institution, to the alumni. What does this recognition from your alma mater, what does that mean to you?
I'll be very honest, it's rewarding. I appreciate it, but I really don't do it for accolades or rewards. I actually sometimes get embarrassed when they tell me I've won something, because it really is just, you know, what I do. When people say, well, how do you do this and how do you do so much for our students? And I tell them that I don't know how not to. It's children learn what they live, and this is how I was raised. I come from a family of educators and nurturers and community servants, and so, you know, it's what I do. And it's also what I've learned and lived as people gave back to me. Other alumni, I was an alumni scholar, so I got through school debt-free because of alumni donations. Alumni poured back into me when I was here, inviting me over for dinner, feeding me, giving me opportunities. And so I want to make sure that that legacy continues. I understand the gift that I've been given by being a fourth generation HBCU grad and having alumni surround me and support me. And I know that to whom much is given, much is required. So
that's right.
It's just kind of, you know, what I am here to do.
So as you think about our young Eagles on the campus, they see you, you're visible, you're out there. Many of them see you as a role model, or where they feel as though they can go. And that mentorship does mean a lot as we think about how we're preparing our Eagles to graduate and go out and have great careers. So as Executive Director of Black Health Matters, what are some things that your organization does that you want to share with the audience?
So what we do at Black Health Matters is we produce health summits all over the country. And so again, back to that legacy of service, I've landed in roles that serve the community, and so we do our health summits in underserved communities all over the country. So it's again a natural kind of progression. And when you talk about my mentorship and my involvement with the students, that's what I love to do most. That is what fuels me. And going back to recognition, the awards and all those titles are great, but one of the students, or several of the students, I call them my Charlotte babies, told me that I was everyone's favorite auntie. That's my favorite award and title that I can say, and I love that because they need us. I understand that even in 2025, being a fourth generation HBCU student is rare. A lot of our students are still first generation. They lack resources and they need what alumni, can provide. And so being able to kind of stand in the gap for some of our students is truly what, fuels the work that I do. And I try to inspire our other alumni to do the same.
So in your role as president of the National Alumni Association, you and I have talked about, and we're always speaking to alumni about giving back and fundraising. And this year, our numbers increased with the number of donors from our alumni base. But what do you see as some of the biggest challenges that alumni associations face today? And how do you encourage, or what are some strategies you use to get our alumni in, becoming part of the culture of giving back?
Yeah, I would say I lead by example. Show them what you do. Tell your story. And that's what I've always told my Charlotte chapter when I was the chapter president. Let's just keep doing the work and people see what you're doing and will want to be a part of that. I love that our alumni are giving and that our giving has increased, but we also need to be more present with our students and give not only of our treasure, but of our time and talent. They need us as mentors. They need us as advocates. They need us to get them in the door of the companies that they work. And so when you always talk about protecting the brand, I tell alumni all the time that if we don't protect the brand, then it affects us as well.
It does.
Everything negative that happens at NCCU, I get a text or a phone call from one of my Aggie counterparts saying, what's going on over there at NCCU? So if we don't protect the brand, first and foremost, then that affects not only the students, but us as alumni, because then we're not looked upon favorably. So we've got to get to the point where we're giving back in myriad ways. And so the way I try to do that, the way I try to get my executive board to do that, is to continue to lead by example. I'm going to continue to show up and do the work and bring others with me.
Right. And I appreciate that, because you're right. Protecting the brand is something that we all have a responsibility in doing, because NCCU is an institution of excellence, where excellence is the standard. And sometimes change and uncertainties impact perception, but at the end of the day, we are NCCU.
We are,
and we have to really stand by that brand, that legacy, that history of being the great institution that we know we are, and the great and amazing alumni that this institution has produced, that are out there. I tell you, just going around meeting the chapters and the members, and some of the great careers and impact that they're making across North Carolina, across the country, and globally, has just been absolutely amazing. And as we think about homecoming week, You know, and everyone's coming back to celebrate homecoming. Yes, we had to do things a little differently this year because safety and security, of course, is of our campus community, our alumni, our students is definitely a priority. But when you think about your experiences with homecoming as we continue to protect the traditions of the institution and what alumni really love about coming back during this homecoming week, what are your most memorable experiences with homecoming? What's one? Just give us one experience that you say, oh, this was the best. Can you?
Probably the most memorable experiences I can't talk about on the podcast, but let's talk about the the most fun, right? The most fun, though. I tell you, I just love being on the yard. Seriously, it is just reconnecting with everyone, seeing everyone, the smiles, the hug. I just love being on the yard. You'll catch me on the yard every day of homecoming weekend, just hanging out, walking around. I go to the CAV, I walk in and out of the student center. You know, before we had the new student center, the student union, hanging out on the yard and going to the tailgates. I will be the first to admit I'm going to always buy a ticket to the game. I have my season tickets, but I may not always make it into the game because of the tailgates. And so I work my way around, and that's something I've always done. Little known fact, I have only missed 3 homecomings since I graduated. Both my children were born in October, so the years that they were born, I was unable to come to homecoming. And then there was one homecoming, I think I had the flu. Other than that, I've been to homecoming every year since I graduated. It is truly one of my favorite times.
So what's an event that you say you will never miss during homecoming? What's an event that is just the best event that you love to attend that you will never miss?
Yeah, the tailgating.
Okay.
And then the 1040 break party.
Oh,
those are my staples. The tailgating and the 1040 break party. You'll find me at both of those things religiously.
Wonderful.
So, yes.
Wonderful. So when you think about the history and the family reunion, as some call homecoming or refer to it as a family reunion, like you said, the smiles, the hugs, what do you think about, or how has over the years the culture of the ultimate homecoming, the history, the pride, how has that been defined over the years?
Just in so many ways. The ultimate homecoming experience, I mean, of course, our homecoming has grown.
Yes.
It has grown by leaps and bounds. Even I have been, surprised, but also not surprised because we've become a destination homecoming of sorts because people say it feels like family. There's a different vibe here at North Carolina Central University. You can come, you can have a good time, you can be yourself, but we want to do that, of course, with safety in mind. And sometimes, you have to, as I told the alumni, stand with our university in times of celebration, not only in times of celebration, but also in times of change and growth. And that's where we are now. But it's become what it is, and we've had to make these changes because we are such a welcoming environment.
Yes.
We really do provide that family atmosphere. You really do come to NCCU homecoming to have a great time and connect with great people, which is why we get other students and other alumni from all over coming to NCCU homecoming.
And just homecoming from the standpoint of the culture and traditions with HBCUs across the country. And to your point, yes, we have made some changes in homecoming this year at NCCU, but many of our HBCU campuses have made changes. And, I see it as though, let's see how things go this year, and what we want to go back to, we will, and what we don't, we'll keep it moving. But overall, I think people understand the priority of safety for our communities and the world in which we live now. We have to be more adaptive to some of these changes and making sure that we have everyone having a good time.
Absolutely.
But also being safe. And, last year was my first experience with the ultimate homecoming. And it was absolutely amazing. And so everything that you describe, I was able to experience and observe. But, having everyone come back is always a welcoming opportunity for our alums to come back and for you all to reconnect and to meet up with everyone. So how would you say NCCU, our homecoming, What would you say the impact is on the Durham community and how the Durham community sees homecoming at NCCU?
I think the impact is great. And as you know, Angelique Stallings talked about earlier, you know, just the economic impact and knowing that we are impacting the greater Durham community, it's good for them to see. It's good for them to see our HBCU in a positive light, seeing what we're producing, seeing our alumni coming back. And then, as you said, seeing the types and the caliber of alumni that we have that are coming back and contributing and really just showcasing the best of NCCU in the broader community so that we can make not only our school but our community proud.
Right.
Yeah.
So one last question.
Yes.
If you had to describe NCCU's ultimate homecoming experience in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Ooh, you gave me the tough question. 3 words, I would say electrifying.
Oh, electrifying. Okay.
I would say,
I like that.
Engaging. And I would say family.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nikki Davis-Green.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and Angelique Stallings, thank you both for joining me on this very special episode of the Eagle Exchange. The NCCU Ultimate Homecoming Experience is a time when we celebrate our history, embrace our culture, and look forward to our future together. And this year's Ultimate Homecoming Experience is full of opportunities for all Eagles to come back to the nest. Here are just a few highlights you don't want to miss. Join us this evening, Friday, October 17th at 10:30 p.m. for the Ultimate Homecoming Countdown as we officially kick off the Ultimate Homecoming Experience Week. The celebration continues tomorrow morning, Saturday, October 18th, with the Ultimate Homecoming Parade beginning at 9 a.m. Then on Sunday, October 19th, don't miss the Ultimate Gospel Concert at 5 p.m. Later in the week, join us for the 78th Annual Founders Day Convocation on Friday, October 23rd at 9 a.m., followed by the Ultimate Old School Greek Stroll-Off during the 10:40 break. All weekend long, enjoy alumni reunions and networking events, including the Alumni Tailgate on Saturday, October 25th at 12 p.m., and the Ultimate Student and Alumni Social at 4 p.m. And of course, don't miss the big game. Come cheer on our NCCU Eagles as they take on Delaware State Hornets. Saturday, October 25th at 1 p.m. in O'Kelly Riddick Stadium. To our students, alumni, faculty, staff, and the entire Durham community, thank you for making the NCCU Ultimate Homecoming Experience such a powerful tradition. Together, we are proving that Eagle Pride is not just alive, it's soaring. Visit nccu.edu/homecoming for all the latest updates and stay connected through all of our social media channels. I'm Chancellor Carrie G. Dixon, and thank you for tuning in to the Eagle Exchange. As always, Eagle Pride Amplified.